We have our guest joining in. First up is Ambareesh Baliga of Edelweiss Financial Services. Good morning, Ambareesh. Happy Diwali to you. Well, what's the sense you're getting of the markets? We are beginning to see the tapering of FII flows and the markets bulking at that 6,300 mark. Is this sell time, profit take time, or is it that you just turn your attention to mid-caps where the rally is going on?
I don't think it's time to sell. Clearly, we are seeing consolidation. I think it's a healthy correction what we have seen the past few days. And those who have missed out on on this rally in the past couple of weeks, I think they will come in to join. The rally. I think when you see the markets possibly down either 100, 150 points more from here. In fact, I don't see the markets really going below 6,000, 6,050 levels. So I think closer to about 6,100, 150, you will have these people again coming back and starting to invest.
Ambareesh, hi, good morning. Today we have some interesting numbers that are coming out, and many of them may actually be better than expected. You know, the likes of Tech Mahindra, there's Prestige Estates, there's something like Eicher Motors that has been performing quite well. Anything
Absolutely.
that catches your eye?
I think Tech Mahindra is one which should actually surprise us with much better results than what analysts are talking of. So I think that's one where I think there's a decent upside. And Eicher anyway has been performing well over the past couple of years. So I think that will continue to do well. At the same time, if you're talking of Prestige, I think it's one of the very few, reality companies, which should continue doing decently well. I think there's a clear difference between the Bangalore-based ones and the other reality plays like, what we have in Delhi and Bombay. So I think people should be looking at the Bangalore-based ones, and especially Prestige is surely one of them.
How much more of a derating are you expecting in the BHEL stock post its numbers?
I think clearly if you look at the sort of analyst reactions which are there, I think most of them will be downgrading the stock to a sell. Possibly one should be looking at levels of about 100, 110, 115 levels over the next few weeks. And the way things are, I really fear that, whether the BHEL will go the MTNL way, like what we had seen Bharti and MTNL about 6-7 years back. And I think the same thing is playing out, or possibly could play out for BHEL and L&T, where L&T continues to do well, just like the way Bharti had done in the last so many years.
It's a painful thought. I was hoping you will put the analogy with public sector banks, which bounce out at least when the times turn positive. But Ambareesh, finally, anything in the mid-cap space that catches your eye after the numbers? Clearly Ashok Leyland was the one that disappointed, but anything that was good that you would buy?
In fact, we have been looking at Bharat Forge for quite a while. That's one stock where we are still quite positive, and the other one is Dishman Pharma, especially after the results. We had a scare in March and June quarter results after it showed a decent uptrend in the earlier quarters, and we had a buy at that point of time. But then after that scare, I think the last quarter results were extremely good, and I think it's back on track. We still have that price target of about 110 for that stock.
All right, just stay on. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be just in time for the pre-opening and get some more guests in as well.
MCX Stock Exchange, India's new stock exchange, presents Bazaar Morning Call.
All right, less than a minute for the pre-opening rates to come in. Amit Trivedi also joins in. Amit, very quickly, any strategy on the Nifty today?
Not at this point of time, but if the market goes to around 6,300, we like a ratio on 64, 6,500 call options. So you can buy 1,6400 call and sell 2,6,500 calls. Whenever you are getting an inflow of around 8 rupees in the strategy, your break-even will be 6,600, and you will make at least 8 rupees in the strategy if Nifty remains any value less than 6,600.
Okay, that's at the moment at all ask, but the pre-opening rates are here, and okay, Nifty at the moment indicating unchanged. We should have a second more, and we should be able to get to the pre-opening rates. There goes the pre-opening. First of the rates, well, very, very flat. Started in the green, but it's a 0.25% lower, now 0.07% lower. Okay, extremely indecisive, undecided market at this point in time. The Sensex is perhaps a slightly better indicator, and that's as flat can get. Let's see if individual stocks are giving us any signs at all. Yes Bank starts with 9.9%. Why? HDFC starts 9.9% higher. Why? Okay, these rates I don't think are giving you much by way of a signal. SBI to nearly 3% higher. Cummins 1.8%, PNB 1.7%. I mean, by this standard, the bank Nifty will open 5% higher. No, I think we can ignore these rates. ICICI Bank 1.5%, LIC Housing 1%. What are the other non-bank names? Dabur starts with about 1% higher, Cummins 1.8%, PFC 0.6%, ONGC half, L&T Housing, L&T Finance Holdings about 0.5% higher. What's not starting very well? BHEL down 6%. It may not be as bad when it opens, but clearly somebody's expressing their ire, now down 8%. ABB minus 17. Yesterday there was a knee-jerk upward move after the numbers came in. Nothing much to write home, but I don't know if it deserves 5 and 15% cuts. SBI now is minus 10. This is not working at all. It was plus 9, it was plus 3 sometime back and minus 9. Maybe these rates are ignored.
I think the only rate to believe is the rupee, because that market is actually open 62.33. So there's a tad bit of appreciation compared to what we saw yesterday. 62.40 was where we ended yesterday, but these are still extremely low levels. I think the weakest of the rupee has been in the last 5 weeks. So let's monitor that one for you.
Then and now, the one positive number that came is that they have collected 15.2 billion in that FCNR and banking route. Well, not that the market expected anything less. The last number we had 3 days ago was 12 billion and now it's 15 billion. So it does look like they're on course to get 10 billion, 20 billion pretty easily before the door is bolted on November 30th.
Okay, in terms of stocks, BHEL is down 4%, but I think it should react, because yesterday, despite those horrific numbers, the stock did not evince any reaction. So maybe you'll see, some pressure in trade today. And watch for the power stock. So yesterday, that was the big theme playing out. Today as well, NTPC, Tata Power, etc. are all in the green. Ambareesh, just come in on these power names. Anything you like from that space, even with a trading point of view, because, there's so much momentum in the last couple of days there.
I think trading point of view, I think there are just two stocks one should look at, NTPC and Tata Power. In fact, NTPC should, in this momentum, move to levels of about 161, 162.
Okay. And Tata Power?
Tata Power again could see another movement of about 4 to 5% more from here, but not really much more than that, because power can't really remain a theme for too long, because people just found value because these are the stocks which have not moved in the last couple of weeks.
Would you short or sell any of the banks, Ambareesh?
Banks are not at these levels, because I think that momentum is still there. We are seeing some amount of correction, no doubt, after the sort of a move which we saw in the past few days. But I don't think at this point of time one should short sell banks. But I think one should look at buying at lower levels.
Okay. And Amit, you have a strategy on any bank?
Yeah, we have a strategy on SBI. So that's the only bank, a big bank which is yet to come out with numbers. So we have a risk reversal strategy on SBI. So SBI is trading at around 45% implied vols. So it's at around 1800. You can buy 1600 put at around 12 rupees, and you can fund that by selling a 2000 strike call option. You are getting 2000 strike call at 22 and 1600 put is 12 rupees. So you are actually getting 10 rupees in this strategy, and if SBI goes down, you will make a lot of money in this strategy.
Ambareesh, what's happening with ITC? I mean, it may not be a 4% cut today, but the last 14 days the stock has moved from 350 just about hanging on to 300 now.
Sectoral rotation, which we have been talking about earlier, that once you have the other sort of sectors moving, you'll automatically see IT, pharma and FMCG taking a back seat. So that's exactly what we have seen in the past few days, that when you have stocks in power, engineering and all that moving up, automatically you'll have people staying out of these stocks in FMCG, pharma and IT.
Okay. Amit, any strategy on Tata Motors? It's seen some very good days.
Yeah. So Tata Motors is coming out with numbers tomorrow, I think. The thing is, last time it came out with numbers, it moved by around 5%, but implied vols, which were at around 40%, have moved to around 44% right now. So what one can do is, I don't know, it can go up or go down, but sell both the call and put of 400 strike. You are getting at around 32 rupees by selling the straddle at this point of time. And if the vols come down, even if the stock moves around 3 to 4%, this value of straddle will come down to 28, at which price one can unwind this particular trade.
Okay. Well, this rate on the Nifty is quite bizarre, but the Sensex rate is indicating that the opening could be on the flattish side, so very, very flat for the Sensex, and it is a couple of these defensive names again that are ruling the roost. So HCL Tech, Sun Pharma, etc. might be on the upside, Wipro, etc. And on the downside, some of these names like L&T, maybe BHEL as well, down almost about 2 to 4%. But Ambareesh, what's the sense you're getting about the market direction right now? Because the opinion is, extremely divided. There are some who believe that perhaps the market could stall at these levels for the lack of any triggers, but there are others who believe that this is the best we've seen, in the year. What's your sense?
I think that momentum is still there, that feel-good factor which has been thrust upon us in the last few weeks, I think that will continue for a while longer. So I don't see too much of a downside, like I said earlier. Possibly the next couple of days you could see some more downside of possibly either 100, 150 points, but not really more than that. And I think that should be utilized to buy, because over the next couple of months you'll have a lot of triggers, and especially state elections, and then you have the parliament session starting. So I suppose, there would be interest in the markets, and that momentum will continue. So utilize any downside from here to pick up.
Okay, Ambareesh, in any of the pharmaceutical stocks, are you positive today? We got some positive news on Wockhardt. Do any of them excite you?
Wockhardt could possibly see a sort of a bounce back after the sort of a fall which we have seen. But then I think the stocks to be in clearly is Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's and Lupin.
Okay, we should just pull up the 10-year bond yield. I think the bond markets have also opened, and there is some weakness that we're seeing over there. 8.80. Okay, that's where the 10-year bond yield has opened up, but it's still quite elevated levels. We've seen 5 straight days of an up move or hardening of the yields, and the rupee as well is at 62.43
yeah,
right
it's
now.
weakened even further. Yeah, actually there is a bit of risk off in global currencies as well. And yesterday we saw a lot of dollar buying by the FII debt companies, as dealers were telling us. We got a minor. Well, state-owned banks are more worried about the fact that there is no one to sell to. You had the FII debt, and the FII debt guys are also selling off. That's one fear. The other big fear is that inflation number which comes in next week could be ugly. In fact, it will most likely be ugly, because we know that all of October we had fairly elevated vegetable prices and onion prices. We didn't see anything else drop off either. Therefore, a bad inflation number will at least spoil sentiment. Even if before December 18th a good number comes, December 18th is the next credit policy, it's possible that the November numbers for inflation will not be that bad. Usually post Diwali sees a dramatic fall in usually edible oil and sugar prices. Vegetable prices also would normally cool by then. No, the usual winter months are positive for vegetables as well. Therefore, you may not get that rate hike, but nevertheless, immediately sentiment is likely to get a bit spoilt on both the bond markets and on the banking stocks, because of a definitely ugly inflation number that we are likely to get next week. So bond markets could be smarting under that.
Okay, let's get Sudarshan Sukhani in now. Sudarshan, before we ask you about the equity markets, you've seen this coming, the move on the rupee for the last many days. What's the next level that you would watch on the currency?
Well, it's breaking. It broke out on the upside yesterday itself, and I'm watching 63.50, which is an immediate target. I don't see the rupee actually weakening further, and it's not going to be a weakening of the kind we saw last time when it just went on towards 69. It will be much slower, but I'm assuming that it will work out. Maybe it will take a year, something that happened in 1 month last time.
Okay, Sudarshan, 2 stocks. One, would you short BHEL intraday or positionally? As well, Punjab National Bank, what's the strategy now? But just as a warrior, you would know that Punjab National Bank results due tomorrow.
Well, I wouldn't short PSU banks, even though they've shown some weakness, because the rally has been quite smart. And in general, I'm a little wary of selling and shorting any stock. I mean, my sense is that we are in a strong uptrend. But BHEL is a different issue, because BHEL has shown significant weakening after that rally, and even in a strong uptrending market, BHEL could be choppy. So yes, BHEL is a shorting opportunity for mainly intraday or 1 or 2 day trades for swing traders.
Okay. If you believe positionally one has to be long in the markets on the Nifty, then which may be the stocks that might buck up the Nifty? Which are the stocks you would be long on?
See, this list will keep on changing, but for
Yes.
today and for the very near future, it's IT and pharma. Both the sectors, Lata, were correcting when the Nifty was going up towards 350. So the rally was without IT and without pharma. And while banks now start correcting or going sideways, even energy, I think I would say that I would bet on all the 3-4 IT stocks, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, HCL Tech, all of them.
Okay, Sudarshan, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again later in the day. We still have about 3.5 more minutes to go, but we understand that the cricket match has begun at Eden Gardens and Shikhar Dhawan is out.
Yeah,
That's
already
okay.
1 wicket down. But anyway, I guess people are waiting for the god to play. So at the moment, heart is very much in Eden Gardens. But let's shift focus back to the Indian markets. We still have about 5 minutes for the markets to open, and another guest joins in. Dipen Seth, Head Institutional Research at HDFC.